A new Habitat for Humanity home construction project called Hope Run is rising on Wilmington's east side. Habitat, along with Central Baptist Church's Community Development Corporation, are among several partners working on East Side Rising projects aimed at creating economic empowerment, a viable housing market, a strong workforce, and a safe and healthy community.
You are in the Urban Acres garden, and our garden started out as having nothing here. 2 houses were demolished, and what you see now is the finishing touch of a beautiful garden come together for East Side residents. This is kale, cabbage, this is broccoli, we have onions, and we also have growing here are okra.
Reverend Keeling and Mike Miner are the catalysts behind Urban Acres Produce.
We started Urban Acres really for 2 purposes. One, because this was a what they call a food desert. There was no real way of people obtaining nourishing food.
The American Nutrition Association defines a food desert as areas where residents can't get healthy food like fruits and vegetables. The poor, elderly, young, and sick are often the ones who can't access these foods, so Urban Acres brings it to them. They operate several stands outside senior housing centers and clinics around the city on Tuesdays through Fridays. The fruits and vegetables are locally grown in the garden at 8th and Church Street, right in the heart of the East Side.
The plan was always to have 10 beds for the community, and then the rest of the beds would be for our Urban Acres production, where we could actually grow fresh produce, and really not with the idea of selling it on our stand so much, but what we really wanted to do was to grow produce for some restaurant in town, so that the restaurant could say, we're buying local on Church Street. People, think Church Street, how can you buy local from Church Street?
Well, it's not restaurants, but residents buying local from the garden. Community buy-in is critical to the garden's success.
Before I moved here, I moved from Greenville, Delaware. My husband and I decided that why are we sitting here in the lap of luxury when we need to be somewhere in the community helping?
Althea Alfie Moss, whose first name is a flower and last name is a plant, is, of course, a natural in the garden. This project was perfect for her. And she's not alone. Garden manager Tina Leatherberry has lived on the east side for 34 years. She's one of only a few homeowners on her street. According to a 2010 census, 64% of homes on the east side were occupied by renters. Leatherberry says she thinks the garden and new construction will bring committed residents to the area.
Now the buildings are all boarded up, getting ready to put through new houses and hopefully new neighbors that want to be here and keep the area up.
And it's not just residents pitching in. Miner doesn't live in the area, but he's invested in the community surrounding the church where he worships weekly. The 73-year-old says his idea of retirement was interrupted.
Reverend Keeling showed up, and my life changed. He came in 2010 and said, we need to do something. And everything just is going from there. This was not something in the plan. This is not some vision. This is not, and I tell people even now when people come and they tell me how beautiful this garden is, and I only have to be honest and say, I wish that I could have had a vision that this what this could look like. I had no clue.
Someone who did have an idea what could come out of this project was Reverend Keeling.
Part of what we do is we want to change the narrative, first in the people's mind, and then overall throughout the city. So part of what we had to do was make people believe that, hey, that this time something really is going to happen. We didn't allow them to ask us, well, what are you going to do about so-and-so? No, it's not me. It's what are we going to do?
That call has been met with a response. There are 26 beds in the garden, 13 are owned by residents, and the others are used for production to sell at the stands. Always forward-thinking, Miner says he has an even greater goal for Urban Acres Produce.
We want to be the distribution hub for this area. And we're right here by the port, so even in the winter, as the produce comes in from South America and around, and it goes right through Wilmington to Philadelphia Produce Market, we'd like to have some of that stop here in Wilmington. So we can bring those pieces together, that we could have a hub here, that we could be a full full-fledged produce hub in Wilmington, create jobs, create enthusiasm, create welfare, just do a lot of things for our city.